Hi guys, what is up? I have a couple of videos that I wanted to release before patch 7.1 comes out. I believe it's going to be next week sometime, so I'm pretty excited for that. As you know, Fortnite is Fortnite Battle Royale is probably going to get the sword nerfed, which is pretty much all we know, and probably more Christmas stuff like Christmas trees and all those things, and Save the World is going to be finally getting, hopefully, the Frost Knight expansion update, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty exciting. So I wanted to make a list of the top 10 things Epic could change about Fortnite Save the World that would probably make it better. So let's get into it. Number 10. For number 10, I put a way to bind found objects to an inventory spot. And these objects like porta-forts, dynamite, fireworks, togs, they're kind of cool to use if you're in a lower level for some reason. You have the time to kind of bind them and put them in this area and be able to use them. But what they do is they take up a slot and they replace one of your guns. And what I've noticed playing is that it's kind of a pain to go into your inventory, take this item, put it in a slot, use it, go back into your items, and put that gun back. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if it was kind of like a trap in a way? Not necessarily in the trap slot, its own separate slot would be good, but like as an extra object you can use, and almost as an incentive to collect those things. Like number 9. For number 9, I put a way to remove the storm alerts. I've noticed playing that your storm alert information comes up and it's there for a good amount of time. It kind of covers up your gameplay if you just want to play and not read it, and it's kind of like, well, when's this thing gonna go away? But when you really need it and you're like, okay, what kind of husks am I gonna deal with, what kind of guns am I gonna need, I don't know how to bring it back up, and I don't know if they have this in-game an information sheet where you can pull it back up. But I was thinking maybe, like, since we only have a couple emotes, maybe it could be bound to an emote, the emote page, so you could kind of like, go to the emote wheel and click over to it and it will pop up, and then you can bring it back down whenever you want. So if you want, you can read it, and if you don't want, you can just, maybe push the emote button and cancel out of it, or bring it back up whenever you want. If you increase the difficulty, sometimes some of those things change. So it would be kind of nice to know what you're dealing with when you want to read it, when you have time to read it. And I think that would be a nice touch as well. Number 8. I think it would be cool if, and I think I've heard this from Latana before, or it might have been David Dean. Those are the two that I usually watch a lot of. But I love this idea. Edit characters at different levels. And to me, this is just like how in Fortnite Battle Royale you can kind of edit your style. And I think it's amazing because some of these characters, yeah, you can take their hats off or whatever, but you can't really take back blings off, and once you evolve them, they're evolved forever. You can never get that original style back. And you see it a lot with Dire and Calamity. They're the new ones that have such drastic changes throughout leveling up. And yes, it is kind of cool that they do change But once you get to that higher level, it's like I can't play that character. I can't play the style of this character that I liked. So you kind of lose that forever. And it kind of comes with a creative aspect too. Like, what if I wanted to make a video with this character slowly evolving and I wanted to use it and save the world? I wouldn't be able to do that. And I've actually been thinking about making a video and seeing how that will work out, because I think it's a fun idea. And I need a higher level Calamity who is not wearing the higher level clothes. And I don't think it would be too hard to implement this in the game. So yeah, it'd be a nice touch. My number 7 is, it's kind of a weird one. I don't know if anybody else would prefer this, and it would be a wait to leave option after finishing an SSD. Now, what this will allow you to do is 3 major things. The first would be you can collect those items that have been left by in your trap systems and everything. You can collect all those items that have been dropped by husks. And if you had somebody help you that you didn't know, who isn't on your friends list, and you thought they did a great job and you really appreciate it, maybe you can say, hey, I got some stuff for you at the end of the game. Can I give it to you, without adding them on your list and then bringing them back into a game so you can drop them stuff that they might not need. But it would be kind of cool if, like if you don't use shotgun shells and they do, and you notice that, you could drop your shotgun shells. If you want to give them materials, you can drop them materials. If you want to give them a gun just to say thank you, you can do that. And I had one person who helped me with a Twine Peaks mission, and I really thought about that. I really thought about, hey, I want to drop them, like, I want to craft them my best gun and drop it for them. But I just thought it was awkward. I didn't want to message them while I was playing. The last 10 seconds I could have said, hey, can I add you so I can bring you here? And I just think it would be cool to be like, hey, can you wait? I want to drop you some stuff after the game. And then, they can choose to wait or they can leave or whatever. And the third thing is, and I know a lot of people are probably going to want this, is after the SSD is over, a lot of the times you kind of go back in and you assess the damage and you see what happened and where you need to fix things and what's going on with the game. And yeah, well, if you had to choose to wait, you could go in there and repair your stuff right away, right afterwards, and get it all done, and you don't have to go back to the screen, log back in, load up, and start fixing your stuff. And another thing about that is if people do join your SSD and you choose to wait and they choose to wait, obviously I think they should be kicked once you leave. They should automatically be kicked out. But if they want to ask you questions about setting it up, or hey, can you help me with mine, or anything like that, it's less awkward. So I think game wise and being a better community, I think that would help with that. For my number 6 spot, I have add tutorials and links to tutorials. And I'm not sure what they've added into the game, actually, as of right now, because I'm not really a new player, so I've never seen a tutorial. And I think they added something, but I think it would be so cool if they put a link down in the area that you were at. Like, if you were looking at schematics and weapons and stuff, it would be a link to how to modify weapons, what's the best, obsidian or shadow shard, what's the best to use on which weapon, or information like that. Or even if you're doing SSDs and you need help with SSDs, I think it should maybe bring you to a link or a video either on a YouTube channel that they've partnered up with, or a specific video that they've put on the Fortnite website. And I think it should go through like survivors and stuff, kind of like a little help guide that brings you somewhere else to give you more information on that subject. I think it will really help the community, and I like the idea of being able to learn more, because there's still stuff that I don't know, and I know there's a lot of stuff that people have asked me in game about, and I feel like there should just be a bigger access to information for that. Okay, my number 5 is more of a cosmetic type change, and the thing is I don't know if a lot of people have this problem, but for me, when you go into a evacuate the shelter or repair the shelter, you go to this balloon type dome, and you're supposed to feel like there are people in there, and it looks like something that would be on Mars, that like 2 people would live in, researching stuff. I don't know, it doesn't seem like a place where people would be. And since a lot of the since at the beginning of these missions, the area you're supposed to go to is already marked, I don't think it would be such a bad thing to have these shelters thing look like an actual building. And I thought about this, and when I was thinking about this, I thought those bunkers, those even look like some place where you would see, survivors being held, like, living and kind of working as a community. And I mean, the dome, it doesn't bring you there. It doesn't bring you to the point where, you're saving people, you're rescuing them, you're helping them, they're supposed to have this building and this fort that they've been living in, and you're supposed to come there and help them, evacuate or repair it or whatever it is you're doing. And it honestly, it feels like you're building a box around a dome. It does not feel right. Okay, so for my number 4, this is an obvious one. Fix the bomb missions and any other bugs in the game. Especially the bomb missions. I can't believe how many times I've gone into a bomb mission. There's places you can't build. There's sometimes the mission won't even start. There was a time where we built a track and it started going back to the bomb area, and we couldn't get it to go back on the track again, and we actually had to just exit out of it. And it's just, sometimes it's a huge waste of time. Sometimes I'll go into a mission, we'll get everything done, everything built, and it's just a waste of material because it doesn't even start. And then even at the end of it, I don't know if it's recently now because I completely avoid playing those missions, but even at the end, it takes forever for it to cancel out. I literally exit out of the game, and one time I finally was just like, okay, I'm just gonna wait and see if this actually ends up getting out. And it took about 2 minutes to get back to the game lobby, and I don't know what's going on with this. Fix the bugs, fix this. It's completely terrible. Number 3. And number 3, they actually worked on a little bit with the Storm King, and I think there should be more boss fights. When you play a video game and you get to the point where it's like, okay, this is the next boss, this is where we have to, kind of buckle up and get into it and just go at it and fight. to me, reaching that level and reaching that point, even when I used to play Mario, it was so fun. It was like, oh my gosh, you just, it's a totally different feeling. And Save the World just has so much repetitive stuff. And we kind of need a boss fight. It's like, what do we get at the end of an area? We get a rocket that we have to launch, and we're doing the same thing as protecting an area and all this other stuff. And we go to a different island, and the island, it pretty much looks all the same. Like, I'm so glad Canny Valley's aesthetic was different. It definitely needs a change, and I think boss fights would be a wonderful change. More boss fights, because I'm so glad they put the Storm King in here. It is so cool, and it brought me back to playing like Dante's Inferno. Like, it really did. It was really cool. Number 2. Okay, I had to put this at number 2 because I know everybody agrees with me here. Trap removal and replacement. Oh my goodness. So there's times where I'm going through my SSD, like my second SSD, third SSD, whatever, and I'm looking at these traps, and they have like 5 out of like 32 or whatever it is health left on them. And I look at them and I'm like, I'm gonna have to bring that wall down to put a wall back to replace this. And then I realize that there's like 17 more of them that I have to do that with. And I get it, because it's like, you built that, you placed that there, it's a game where you have to destroy stuff, whatever. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like if you could just click on the trap and kind of take the trap off somehow, like you're just removing the trap from the wall instead of having to destroy the wall. Or you could just, replace it. Like, I don't know, like you're editing, you can push edit, and obviously you can't edit a wall with a trap on it, but if you push your edit button and it says replace trap, remove trap, and it gives you an option for that, I think that would be amazing. Number 1, we have different missions, and the missions, they seem like they're all the same. It's ridiculous. You kind of like, you build around something, you protect it. Yeah, there is like save survivors, and then like build these, I forgot what they're even called, these things, and then there's fight encampments, which are, I guess, a little bit different, but it all feels the same. I had 3 ideas for different missions that I thought could add a little bit of spice to Save the World. But before I say that, I think it would be even better that if after a certain amount of SSDs, like in Plankerton, these types of missions get added in to what you can play. And then after Canny Valley SSD, I don't know, 3, this gets added into what you can play, and then this and this, so it kind of keeps it a little bit more fresh as you go. But as you go right now, you get to Canny Valley, and I think they just added a new mission, but otherwise all the missions are the same as what you can play in Plankerton. And then you get to Twine Peaks, and all those missions look exactly the same. So I think when you get to a certain level, you should have another exciting new mission added onto that. So I was thinking about what kind of missions could you do that are different. And one of my ideas, my first one, is there could be a thing where you build a shelter, but the shelter has to withstand without you. And let's say, for example, you have a bunch of survivors, and they're all living in these areas, and they kind of have their own kind of civilization going on. and they've gotten attacked. They withstood the storm, but they need help rebuilding. So you could go in as a constructor, build around their little town area or house. I'd assume it would be a town would probably be the best, kind of like take over a nice area and have like a grocery store and all this other stuff. So they're kind of like living there, you know, because. But I think, you know, you build this place to withstand, and then you don't do the mission. They get attacked, kind of like an expedition. Like you're supposedly sending these people out doing something, and they're gone, and you don't watch them do it. But you get to watch like a CCTV of what went wrong, or yeah, it withstood, and you know, if you want, you can watch the footage. If you don't want, whatever, and it'd be kind of a cool thing, because it's kind of like we have communities out there who are living on their own, and yeah, we're helping them. It's kind of like almost like a repair the shelter, but we're building that shelter up, and we have to build it up extremely well and to the point that it withstands damage and storms without us. And of course you could probably put defenders and stuff too, because this is your community, these are your survivors. And I think that would be kind of a cool idea, kind of something new. And you could put it in, you know, Plankerton. Or not Plankerton, I meant Twine Peaks, because maybe it's a little bit higher level of a mission. Another thing that I had that I thought was kind of cool, and I thought about Battle Royale when I was thinking about this. And what I thought is they have vehicles in Battle Royale and we don't. And I've played a lot of video games, and car chases are kind of fun. So what if you had like a moving survivors type thing? But instead of moving survivors, you're on a moving train. The survivors are in the train, and you have to ride on top of the train, or wherever. Maybe there's other positions on the train that you could be in, like maybe there's somebody driving it or whatever. And it's not necessarily that the husks are fast enough to catch the train, but you're kind of rolling in to a whole bunch of husks, and they're attacking the train and hitting it with whatever they've got, you know, and you're supposed to kind of, you know, maintain these husks as you're driving on this train. And yes, you do pass by some of it, but it would be extremely hard if your train was just going really slow and you weren't passing through these. And of course, you have those big guys that, you know, can try to take your train out and stuff like that. And I think that would be really cool, especially in Canny Valley, because you do have those train tracks, but you never really see a train, and I think that would be a cool idea. Another thing, and this definitely goes with Battle Royale, at least now in Season 7, they have airplanes. And what if instead of a rocket, which a rocket just seems kind of weird, like, are we going to different planets? Or do people just travel by rockets in this world? It seems weird. But replace the rockets with an airplane, and maybe have it so you get all these passengers in the airplane, you're protecting the airplane, and then you take off and you get to drive the airplane and land it on Plankerton or Twine Peaks or wherever it is that you're going. And when you get there, maybe that's your next mission, is to build that CCTV area, that withstands by itself. And I think that stuff like this would freshen up the game, and it will kind of make it feel more like we are actually doing this, like we are actually saving people and survivors. And it almost feels so disconnected from what we are actually here to do. I think these would be good changes. thank you for watching. Comment down below if you liked any of my ideas. Please share the video. Get these ideas out there, and even if you just go on Reddit and make it your own idea, just say that it's yours or you heard this or whatever. You don't have to give me credit. Just I think these would be some really cool changes, and I'd like to get it out there. So thank you. Bye.